The future is here. In this video, we are going to take it very slow, and as you know, we have Meta Llama 3 that has already come with 8 billion and 70 billion parameters. Now we are going to run the 70 billion parameter model of Meta Llama 3 using the NVIDIA Endpoints. So NVIDIA has some enterprise ready inference runtime LLMs which are hosted on their clouds, and they provide a generous amount of credits. So I have about 5,000 credits left. So each credit is one inference call. So we are going to test out the capabilities of Llama-3 70 billion model. And initially I thought of using run pods, but since I already had this login and this credits, so let's test this out. So this video is going to be a very slow one, and where we are going to understand each and every component and how to get started with the Visual Studio Code, installing the code editor, and then using the front end using the Streamlit UI. So let's get started. So we have this model, Llama-3 70 billion. Once we click on this model, click on open full page, and then we have this model. So this is a new model, just a day or so it has been released. So this powers complex conversation with superior contextual understanding, reasoning, and text generation. So we can test it out here. So in the previous section, for example, say something like, what can I see at NVIDIA's GPU Technology Conference? And you can just send it here. You can see the output is pretty fast, but we want to check it out ourselves at our local code. And they already have published this code for Python. They have the code for Node and Shell as well. We're going to use Python. So first and foremost, we get and go ahead and install the Visual Studio Code editor. I'm on my Windows, so I'm going to download this and get it installed. So I've already installed this. Let me open the Visual Studio editor. But before that, let me go to a folder where I'm going to work. So this is another way of opening the Visual Studio Code editor. So first I need to select that folder, and then I would say cmd. So in the command prompt, what I'm going to say is code space dot and press enter. This is going to open up the Visual Studio Code editor in your specified folder. That is pretty amazing. So here we are going to create a new file. So click the new file and say app.py. This will be our main app.py file where we are going to do the necessary coding here. We are going to need some environment variables. So I'm going to say .env. This will host the environment variables of NVIDIA. So I'm going to say NVIDIA API key equal to, and we are going to put in the NVIDIA key later. We're also going to need some requirements .txt file which will host some of the requirements that will be needed. So you're going to need OpenAI, and of course we're not going to use OpenAI, but the syntax will be same, and at the end of the day we will replace with the NVIDIA API key. So we are not going to use OpenAI, but the syntax will be similar to that of OpenAI. So that makes it pretty easy to just swap the models. We're also going to need the environment, loading the environment. So so we are going to need this library known as python.env. So say .env, and we're also going to need Streamlit. So these three are the libraries that we're going to need. Let me go ahead and create a new environment. It's always great to work in a separate environment. So go to terminal, new terminal, and in this terminal we are going to create a new environment. So how to create a new environment? We say conda create -n, and I'm going to give a name of test here. python equal to 3.11 and -y. So once you press enter, you will be able to see the installation of a new Conda environment. But since I already have the environment, what I can say and display the list is Conda info --envs, and here you can see the list of all the environments that I have. So this is the environment, test environment that I've created. So I'm going to activate the environment. So Conda activate test. So we are inside the test environment. You can see inside the bracket we have test. So we say CLS to clear this. Next, we need to install the requirements. So I'm going to say pip install -r requirements.txt. So this is going to install the 3 libraries that have been mentioned in the requirements.txt file. But I should have already installed this. So this is going to show that requirement is already satisfied. In your case, it will get installed if you are just setting up the environment. Now let's head back to the NVIDIA website. So here we are in the Llama-3 70 billion model, and we are just going to copy the entire code of Python here and put it in the app.py file. So here we have, from OpenAI, we import OpenAI, and we need to change the current Python interpreter as well. So just click here and you just find out the test environment Anaconda ENVS test. So select this. So this will use this interpreter here. So we have from OpenAI import OpenAI, and we start up a client. This is a base URL that is pretty good, but this API key is something we need to take from the environment variables. So NVIDIA API key, just put it here. But how to get the API key from the environment variables? So we go back to the NVIDIA page, and then we are going to click on get API key here and generate the key. Once you generate the key, you're going to copy this key and put it inside the .env. So NVIDIA API key is equal to this API key. Now, once we have this secret API key inside the environment variables, what you can do is we can go to app.py, and here we are going to load. So from .env, we import the load env, then you're going to say load env bracket close start, and we can say NVIDIA API key will be equal to OS. So we're going to import OS as well. So import OS dot get env, and we're going to put in this NVIDIA API key. Okay, and this NVIDIA API key, we're going to put it here. Okay, so in order to check this out, what you can do now is you can just comment all these out using the control/ and just going to print the NVIDIA API key here. So just run this. So say python app.py. This should print the NVIDIA API key. So cannot import load env from .env. Okay, this should have been load underscore .env. So we're gonna replace this with load underscore .env, and then we are going to close this bracket up. Let's try this. Python app.py. We should get the NVIDIA API key here. Once we have the key, we can move forward. So we have the key. Now we can move forward. So we remove the commented section here. And now what we have the client here. So this is an OpenAI client, but you can see the base URL. This is of the NVIDIA, and therefore we just swap the OpenAI models with the NVIDIA API endpoints. This is the NVIDIA API key that we have obtained from the environment variables. This is the completion statement. So client.chat completion create. Model is Meta Llama-3 70 billion. Message role is user, and content is what can I see at NVIDIA's GPU technical conference. Temperature is 0.5. I can put it to 1. Top P is 1. Maximum tokens is 1024. Stream is true. And since we are putting in stream equal to true, we have 4 chunks in completion, and this chunk will be streamed. So let's run this. We say app python app.py. What can I see at the NVIDIA GPU technology conference? Let's see the output. So you can see it's streaming, and you can see the output. This is pretty awesome. We can see other examples, like what is the capital of India? And Control S for this, then run this. So you can see how we are able to run the 70 billion model as the model is run in the NVIDIA endpoint itself. So the capital of India is New Delhi. Great. So you can use this model, but what we are more interested is putting it into an UI sort of format and getting the user inputs or user query and showing the reply in a UI. So for preparing the UI, we are going to use the Streamlit. But before that, what I'm going to do is I want to remove the stream is true to false. So once we have removed the stream to false, then you can see what is available in the completion. So we run this and let's see how the completion looks like. So python app.py again. Let's see the completion, because we want to extract the main content from the completion. So inside the completion you can see choices. So what I can do is dot choices of 0, the first choice, because this is a list. Inside the choices we can see that I'm going to see this message here. So this will be message dot message, and then dot the content. This is dot content. So now we should be inside the main content. So let's try it out again. So python app.py print completion dot choices 0 message content. Great. So we have this as the output. Now what we can do is I can put everything inside as a function. So what I'm saying is I can put it something like this. So I can define a function known as chatter, let's say, and this takes in user input, and once it takes the user input, we can put this inside the function here, and this user input we can replace here with the content, and instead of printing the output, what I can do is I can just return this as output. Okay, so remove the bracket here. So this is a function. Now what I can do is while true, in order to form the loop, while true, what you can say is user input is equal to, let's say, input enter the message, and this will be displayed. So user input, after we get the user input, we can take the user input and put it in the chatter, so output equal to chatter of the user input, and you can just print this output, print the output here. I can say response, and this is the response. Let's check it out. It should be looping because we're using while true. This is output. So let's test this out. Python app.py. Now we need to enter the message. What is the capital of Japan? Tokyo. Tell me a story. Great, this works. Now this is pretty boring, so we are going to convert this to an UI using the Streamlit app here, the Streamlit UI. So this is an interesting way. There are other UIs that you can use, for example Gradio, but in this video I'm going to show you how to do it with Streamlit. First and foremost, we need to install Streamlit, and that we have already done. I'm going to stop this and CLS. So the changes that we need to do here is we need to import Streamlit here, and then what I'm going to do is put in a title, for example st.title, and in the title we can display like your favorite chatbot. Just say Control S, import Streamlit as st, and now in order to run the Streamlit app, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say Streamlit run app.py, and this should start up the Streamlit app. So this is the Streamlit app. So here is the title, your favorite chatbot. Now I'm going to stop the Streamlit app and do some necessary changes. So also you can see that there's this message of enter the message. So we don't need this actually now, because we will put this in the Streamlit app itself. So once we have the stream on the title here, next we are going to take in inputs from the user. So in order to take user's input, we can say query as a variable, and I can say st.text input, and you can say enter your message maybe, and you can put in a default message for display, and user can like use this if they want. How are you? So what I'm saying is I'll start this again and then it will be clear. So Streamlit run app.py, here it is going to load up the Streamlit app, which is first of all is going to show the title, which is given as your favorite chatbot, and next we have this st text box here. So this is the text box, and with the default message you can delete that, or you can just accept that if you really wanted to ask this question itself. So this is done. Now once we have that query, what you can do is we need to generate the output. So how this is done in Streamlit is that we would have a button, and the name of the button will be submit button. You can put any names. So this is submit button. If there is a query, okay, if there is a submit button is pressed, and if there is query, then output will be equal to chatter, which is this function that we have just created, and user input. So user input will be query. Now we have the response. We write this response to the Streamlit UI, and that is done. So this loads up the Streamlit app again. So your favorite chatbot, enter your message, how are you, you can click on submit. Once you click on submit, this message goes and you have the output here. So you can say, what is the capital of India, and press submit. The capital of India is New Delhi. We can test out the capabilities of this chatbot by saying, what are some of the questions that I can ask an LLM to test its capabilities. So language understanding, can you explain a complex topic, reasoning and inference, knowledge retrieval, common sense and world knowledge, text generation and creativity, conversational dialogue, emotional intelligence, sarcasm, humor, idioms, math and logic, multitasking and context switching, handling ambiguity and certainty, adversarial edge cases. So in the next video, I'm going to test out all these examples using this same setup that I have. So don't miss the next video that I'm going to post just after this video. And we are going to test out the capability of the Llama-3 70 billion models. And this is huge. We have NVIDIA and I have so many credits remaining, so we can test this out pretty good. We have the app up and running. I hope you are clear with all these setup. So if I would summarize, we have NVIDIA. In the NVIDIA, we have the Llama-3 70 billion models already set up and running on their system. So we have taken the code, generated an API key, and used that API key to set up the inference and set up the system and ask questions to the model. Also, we have used the Streamlit UI to get our Streamlit app up and running, and now it is easier for us to test out the model. So watch the next video in the series. Thank you for joining me. I hope you liked this video. If you have any questions, please feel free to write your comments on the comment section, and I'll be happy to reply to each and every one of you. If you want to support me, please join the Patreon. And if you would like to just chat with me, you can reach out to me on Discord at promptengineer48. With this, I would like to end this video. See you in the next video. Thank you so much.